here on 3FM 92.7. So it's only a few minutes past 6, and you know that on Sunday, every Sunday, we're bringing you excitement from the football pitch, from different sports across the world, but major at the moment is that the Africa Cup of Nations is on, and we'll be talking a lot about it. Do you still have hope in Ghana? Can the Black Stars still qualify to the next stage of the Africa Cup of Nations? Well, we'll see how that goes. My pundits are already seated and we'll be getting into the discussions. But also the Black Princesses have done something incredibly great on the football pitch. We'll be talking also about the Black Princesses, and then we'll do a bit of English Premier League review. I mean, there's been a few Premier League games here and there. Arsenal winning by 5-0. Liverpool are playing at the moment, and they're taking on Bournemouth. That game is 1-0 in favour of Liverpool. So we'll dig into that, and then we'll head into the main issue, which is the Black Stars. But before we get into the Black Stars, we'll do a review of AFCON matches that have happened, Senegal and their dominance, Andre Onana and the Cameroon issue at this AFCON, and then some of the surprises that have happened at the AFCON, and also Cote d'Ivoire in a tight corner. Well, if you ask me, Cote d'Ivoire, there's Zuku team. Anyway, from now up until 7:30 p.m., we'll be here just to run by you the major topical issues in sports, particularly on the Africa Cup of Nations. We'll also hear from Oreko Ampofo, who is stationed in Abidjan, monitoring the Cup of Nations and bringing us up to speed on whatever is happening in Ghana's camp. So let's begin the show then, shall we? My name is Yao Ufusulabi. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Thierry Nyan, and we'll be getting this show started in a bit. But let me just introduce my panelists in the studio. Aniela Alote
No.
Your mic is off.
Oh, yeah,
and
can I just introduce myself?
I've not introduced you yet.
Please,
I've not. I said you are here.
That's not the name. That's
I
not
said.
the name I want.
I said.
Can I just mention the name? It's even just one.
Uh-huh.
Gabriela.
Bill is also here. Bill, what's up?
Charlie, 5 star in Colombia. Me feel 5 star in
Charlie.
Colombia.
Anyway, Kelvin, what's up?
Adeo, Charlie.
Nice one. Nice
But
one.
you know, try.
Why?
I be the action you boys do this afternoon. Like you for involve me so.
Oh, Charlie, well, you next week we'll involve you. But yeah, I mean, so if you're listening, thank you so much. You can also join us on Facebook at 3FM 92.7, and then you can join the conversation. We're streaming live there, also on 3 Sports GH. So kindly get on there, send us what you think, particularly about the Black Stars, because you know tomorrow the Black Stars take on Mozambique, and it's a must-win game for the Black Stars to stand a chance of qualifying to the next stage of the competition. Aniela, we are starting off with the Black Princesses. They've just beaten their counterparts 5-1.
Yeah, this is huge. I think that every player's dream, at least for once in your lifetime, is to be able to make it to the World Cup, irrespective of where you find yourself. And I think that the Black Princesses have done something very, very huge. Last week, we spoke about their performance, and I mean, Basigi did not seem so comfortable because he knew that there was a greater challenge ahead. You don't know what can happen. You are going in with that result, but you need to just shore things up and try and get your goals. And they did that today. Yeah, it's 7-1 on aggregate. Yeah. I don't even... They did it beyond expectation. Yeah. I mean, picking up 5-1 in this game is huge. It just goes to show that they were not at all complacent after picking up a win in the first leg. And I think that all the goal scorers, every single player that showed up in Kumasi, they did a very, very, very brilliant job. It's something that we should indeed commend them for. It's funny because you look at the Black Princesses and you look at their Senegalese counterparts and you try and situate that in the Africa Cup of Nations and look at how
I was going to come to that, because Senegal people, they are doing 2-0. They think that they know how to play ball. 7-1 Senegal, 7-1. Hold it.
They need to just hold it and keep it.
Yeah, I mean, 7-1.
You mentioned the term Zuku. It reminds me of Michael Essien loss because he's always using that term to describe us now.
No, we'll come to the AFCON matches.
But the Black Princesses have proven that they are not a Zuku team at all.
No, Black Princesses, they're actually very good.
Very good team.
They're actually very good, and
I'm happy.
And kudos to them. Kudos to them for making Ghana proud. Bill, let me know what your thoughts are on the Black Princesses win.
Yeah, reaching the Under-20 Women's World Cup for the 7th time in a row should be really, really commendable.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the game, I was particularly impressed with Mefia Nyame. She was a live wire throughout.
Yeah. She was nominated for Swag Footballer of the Year for the female.
Yeah. She scored the goal. She got an assist. She also even hit the bar at some point, and she was just moving on the channels on the wings, switching from the left to the right, and she was just taking people on.
Yeah. She was creating chances from the wings.
Oh my God!
Some people can't do it. Some
players
people can't do it, but they make runs, but they can't do it.
Some players are more concerned in drawing fouls.
Yeah, but I mean, so we create chances, we win 5-1. I mean, it's quite evident.
Yeah. We don't do pointless free kicks.
Thank you very much, Kelvin.
Yeah. I think this is impressive, and the women are showing something. You know, in as much as many would have complained about the lack of proper coaching when it comes to some of our junior national teams, I think with the women's we have some of the best gaffers that you would want to have, and in them there's not the old days where you had some coach failing to win by this match and failing to get proper results, that dominant. Now we have Nora Hopto handling the Black Queens, and then Yusuf Basigi together with Nana Dakwa, who is the coach for Ampem Dakwa ladies, as the first assistant, and then the second assistant, who is a female, one of the top coaches you can have when it comes to women football. So I think it's just good and great, and they are not using talent or because of the clubs that you play for. They don't care where you play for. Once you have the capability to give them the results, they just come get you so that you play and then get the results. It's impressive that they've managed to just wipe the teams off. They wiped off Eswatini with ease, and they progressed, and now they've come to wipe off Senegal as well. And for that huge scoreline, the ease with which they are able to construct their play, build the transition from defense to attack. For women who are supposed to struggle with some of these things, that should take a longer period. If they are able to do it with ease, then you should understand why we don't have patience for
some
men.
Teams.
For men.
For the men.
Fail to do that with ease and dispatch or execute
with
their
more
duties
funding.
Exactly, with aplomb. So let's give them credit. And just like Bill was talking about Mefia Nyame, I think she's really been a very fantastic player for them. And then Chumtu Tracy has also been phenomenal for this team, scoring a lot of goals. And we just hope that we are going to have that continuity from under 20 to the senior team. We had Mukarama Abdullahi, but now she's now currently playing for Azakes ladies. She's now trying to pick up the pieces and get back. I think we should do more for our ladies in trying to shape their career path so that we have the very best from junior level playing at top level.
I agree. So you had the Black Princesses have beaten the Senegalese counterparts by 7-1 on aggregate. They beat them today at the Baba Yara Stadium by 5-1 after they beat them in the first round, the first leg by 2-0. And so aggregate score 7-1. It qualifies Ghana to the World Cup. That's the Under 20 Women's World Cup. And the Black Princesses would
we'll send Aniela to Colombia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guys, if you make promises and I do not find myself in Colombia, I'll be very cross with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about AFCON. My producer has here EPL review, but I'm shifting EPL review all the way down. So
but it be very brief.
Let's talk about
5 goals.
Let's talk about the African Cup of Nations. If you score 5 against Palace at home, it's not a result you should gloat about.
But after losing consecutively,
that one I don't care. I don't care if you lose consecutively.
Every day you want my joy to turn into
No. I mean, no. You have every right to be happy. I'm not saying you shouldn't be happy. You have to be happy. But right now it's AFCON season. We need to.
Let's do the AFCON.
Thank you.
Your team no good, but you won't do AFCON.
Thank you. You would rather do AFCON than do Emirates.
Let's do AFCON.
Anyway, let's head into the African Cup of Nations and let's talk a bit about what has happened after the first round. Second round of matches we are almost ending. I think we'll end today, and then tomorrow the third round of matches will begin.
Yeah.
And already there are a few observations I'm sure many of you have made.
Yeah.
Kelvin, what are your observations?
Well, I think officiating has been top notch. It's been brilliant. Very few. Can I even say very few? Yes, very few. But those decisions are decisions that you can let go. Like some of the penalty calls, when they failed to make it, like that of Joseph Payne. So there were others as well that I think that could have been given. But you cannot even blame the referee so much, because they are the situations that you decide either to give or not. And I think the referees decided. I think those are the few errors that I have seen. But aside that, even with the video assistant referee calls, it's been excellent, purely brilliant. And you ask yourself, the same interpretation we've been having from the Premier League and the failure to get the right decisions is being done better here. What is the reason? And just like he says, going to the VAR means that the decision now becomes subjective, because the referee has to make it on his own after viewing it.
Yeah.
And I think with the decisions that they've made, everyone has been in agreement with the decisions that they've made, that it has been highly objective and it's really helped the game. I think we've actually used the VAR better and proper than, those who started using it in the advanced world. So credit to the match officials. The offside calls too have been, top notch, and you ask yourself, how are they able to get these things right even before the VAR? And I think credit should go to the FIFA refereeing team. They've really, organized and put together a very solid one. And credit to our own Daniel Lai. Yesterday, it was a very tense game. Mali were eager for the result. Tunisia were also eager for the results. But he really showed that, yes, he's the best we have in the country. And unfortunately, Kwesi Champon-Brobe couldn't be part of this. But I think Daniel Lai really, chose to, lift the flag of Ghana very high. So mine is officiating. It's been phenomenal.
Bill, what has yours been?
Cameroon.
Okay.
Onana. Fraud. Onana. After.
What about Onana?
Ondoa conceded 1 goal first game. Onana by Wabeji 3. Why? Why?
But it's against Senegal.
Oh yeah, top team.
Yeah.
But did you see the final goal? Mane decides to just pass it.
I mean, he's been conceding in other competitions. He wants to show Africa that he can concede here too.
First.
Like it was a pass. It was like a pass to goal. He couldn't even save it. Onana. And he was acting like, he's the marshal. He can communicate with the defense.
It's jet lag.
But all of them, he be fraud. He always concede. He just showed me that Massa. It didn't make any difference. He didn't bring anything different, really. Yeah. But if we're being honest, I mean, Cameroon are at a position where they probably wouldn't have wanted to be in. I mean, first game they drew, then the second game, of course, it's Senegal. It's a tough opposition, but I expected them to put a bit more of a fight against Senegal, and they couldn't. And now they have to depend on the final game to get a result, and that can be dicey, especially when you have a goalkeeper who is confident, sometimes arrogant, and can't save a ball to save his life. So I mean, Cameroon are in a position where they can be out before they realize it. They can be going home, and hopefully Ghana is not in that position as well.
And that would be a tough position for Cameroon, because you never quite see Cameroon in positions like this where they have 1 point after 2 games and they need it all to do in the final game. Aniela, what has been your biggest observation at this AFCON?
I'm rather surprised for South Africa. Honestly, I don't think that was something I was expecting, for them to lose 2-0 to Mali in that particular game. Percy Tau had some opportunities in there, was unable to capitalize on them. So that's a shock for me, because if I'm looking at all the 4th place teams currently, I did not think that South Africa would be one of those that are yet to pick up a point. But again, the story could change this evening in their game at 8 p.m. So, that's it. But I also share Kelvin's sentiments about the officiating. A lot of people think that Africa is underdeveloped and would be unable to make use of the technology to the maximum height possible. But I think that they've proven everybody wrong in that regard. Save a few decisions, but those ones, like Kelvin said, we can let them go, even though some of them were against us. We'll just pack that one and sweep it under the rug. But I think that some of the calls have been calls that you cannot debate it at all, because that is the right call to make. And I'm happy. I'm also happy concerning the fans that have showed up in their numbers to, support them.
Yeah. Yesterday,
Even
the Burkina Faso game was incredible.
Crazy. And even when Ghana took on Egypt, it's funny. Like, people are actually so involved. I know a couple of my friends on my Snap, my sister, all of them have made their way over to, Ivory Coast for that support. And I think that is just the beauty of the game. There are a lot of videos going around showcasing, even Oreku's report on the AFCON cloth. It just shows how much excitement it is that surrounds the game. And I think that economic challenges are a bit hard now, and so if people find a reason to smile because of football, then I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, but the Black Stars are not making us smile particularly.
Well,
so maybe tomorrow they can do that.
Just
for us,
maybe.
Yeah, just maybe. But Kelvin, let's come to some of the teams that are struggling.
Yeah.
Algeria are struggling.
Yeah.
And after the early promise of Ivory Coast, it looks like they're struggling. It looks like if they meet any top team, they will suffer, including the Black Stars.
Yes. And I think I watched the Ivorian team in the first game. I just thought Guinea-Bissau were not ready for that first game. They weren't ready enough for that first game. And Cote d'Ivoire had to just pick their moment, buoyed by the opening ceremony and the whole edge of being the host nation. So you need to get the victory in your opening match. And using by virtue of their pedigree as one of the top sides in Africa, they managed to get. But you could see a lot of lapses in their team. Even in the first game, I think Guinea-Bissau did not have very brave, too many brave players or attackers that could have hurt Cote d'Ivoire. But when they met the Nigerian team, they really punched a lot of holes, much more holes in their team, and you could see clearly that they have a deficiency, especially in defense. You cannot use Serge Aurier at this age for the African game and expect to have the very best from him when he's playing against players like Osimhen, Moses Simon, who are very fresh and very quick, pacey. Chukwueze.
Yeah.
They just made a meal of him. You look at the defense. Diomande is a young, upcoming defender, but he's not one who is top there. So it took me back to when they said Arsenal wanted to sign this boy. I'm like, come on, he hasn't reached. He hasn't even reached the level of Squillaci. That's the truth.
Kelvin.
No, that's
Kelvin.
the truth. Come on, let's be sincere. So I just told myself.
Are you saying Squillaci is a bad player? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that.
Is your mind better
expect
than
him to trigger PTSD from own goals? I was not expecting that. Kelvin has taken me to a bad place.
So I just looked at them and I was like, no, this is not. And you look at the Ivorian midfield and you ask yourself, apart from Frank Yannick Kessié, if you talk about Seko Fofana, this is a player who didn't want to play. They went to beg him, and someone playing in the golf. I'm not even sure how dominant he is.
He's gra too much.
Exactly. See, he doesn't give you the.
Everybody wants to blast shots.
You get it. So they don't have someone intelligent. Those days when you had someone like Didier Zokora, Yaya Toure. Look at these midfielders who were in there.
And I think the attack is
it's off.
It's not.
It's just off.
It's not
How
there.
can you lead the Cote d'Ivoire's attack with Grasso?
Oh no.
It's
not top.
The least that the Ivorians could have given us is Sebastian Haller, but he's also struggling. And if you talk about Haller, is he a player that you can really bank your hopes on that?
But I think Haller would do better than Grasso.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you have Grasso, but he's not a player that you can really. And you have Christian Kwame. How dominant is he even in the Serie A? You think that he can come to the African Nations Cup and win you lot? So I just realized that no, this is a team that has a lot of loopholes, and I think Nigeria made us know that yes, they are not all what they seem to be. They might have beaten their opponent 5-1, 6-1, 4-0 during the pre-tournament games, but they are clearly off a lot. And even with their goalkeeper, it doesn't even inspire too much confidence. And I think they're really going to struggle going forward. If tomorrow they play against Equatorial Guinea, they would want to top the group. And as much as they have 6 points, if Cote d'Ivoire defeat them, it means that they may drop to second, and they wouldn't want to meet any top team. So they would want to top the group so that they get any of the third place teams to so they are going to go all guns blazing. I know Emilio Insue and the rest would want to hit Cote d'Ivoire where they can really have joy most. And it's going to be a tall order, and they are too disappointing. For Algeria, you look at the team and it looks like their transition has gone wrong, and Jamel Belmadi is still banking his hopes on some players who don't seem to have the zeal to play for the team again. Riyad Mahrez, for me, has actually lost, that vibe that he used to have in 2019 when, the team surged on to win. He plays like there's nothing at stake because he thinks that he's achieved something great for his nation, which is the Africa Cup of Nations. So where is the zeal for him again? Where is the edge for him to play again? And I always say, they have also a bit of, problems in their defense. Ed Nuri may be playing, for Wolverhampton Wanderers, playing well.
Yeah.
But on the African terrain, it's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
And he's a wing back more rough than using him as a left back or a right back.
Yeah.
So you can see that the African game is taking a toll on him, and they can't really survive, the heat and the pressure. Those playing in the Gulf are okay. Like Baghdad Bonija, look at his energy levels from start to finish.
Yeah.
He's pushing everyone away. He's scoring. He's heckling defenders. He's winning aerial duels. But he can still, after 90 minutes, he's still strong. But look at the others. And it's really affecting them. I don't know what Jamel Belmadi needs to do because he has all the ingredients, but it looks like he's turning a bad cook.
Yeah. Yesterday, my one of my friends, Maher Mezai, he's Algerian, and yesterday he said, he tweeted that, isn't it curious that when Mahrez left the field, then they started playing better, just as when Salah left, Egypt started playing better. And it has become a problem really for the North African team.
Yeah, and they bank their hopes on all these superstars, expecting them to weave magic. But even the simple passes, they are struggling. The last time Kawa came in and he was complaining about the first game when they had the free kick. Ordinarily, that is not how Riyad Mahrez would kick that ball. He would go direct because the ball was just directly opposite the goalpost. It was facing the goalpost. You expect him to go direct, but he looked at how they wanted to pass it, and they missed their effort and couldn't win that game. That was a glorious opportunity for them to at least bag the first 3 points. But yesterday, even after the draw, they were happy with the result. You know why? Because they think that their last game is against an opposition that they can dispatch. And I don't think it's going to come easy for them like that because we've seen how some of the teams are making others struggle. Currently, we are seeing how Zambia are struggling against Tanzania. Wana Ali Samata. We saw how Namibia just made a meal of their opponent. So, it's quite disappointing for the Black Stars who come to them and dissect them properly.
Yeah, but Bill, let's talk a bit about Cote d'Ivoire. I just want to find out what your thoughts are on the Cote d'Ivoire team. I just want us to get through some of these happenings at the AFCON before we get into the Black Stars proper, because when we get into the Black Stars, there's no going back. So
of course.
So give me your thoughts on Cote d'Ivoire.
I think
I think before you come in though, I just want to end that. Kelvin has spoken a lot about Cote d'Ivoire and their players and all of that. They just don't have someone who has the X factor. They don't have a Kudus.
Exactly. And it's coming from a generation where they had a whole host of superstars plus backup players who can actually damage any opposition. I mean, I quite remember the front line. At some point they had Solomon Kalou. They had even Gervinho, who was good on the African soil. Seydou Doumbia, who was even good on the African soil. Cote d'Ivoire were blessed with talent throughout, from defense to attack. Now it's a bit, it's even unbalanced. I mean, if you look at the attack, the leader right now is probably Jeremy Boga on the field. Before, if Haller was around, he would be leading, but now it's more or less Jeremy Boga, which is, if you think of Jeremy Boga and you think of Solomon Kalou, the gap that will come into your mind is a very huge one.
Exactly.
And that's something that they really have to fix, because
by virtue of this, on hindsight, should they have called Wilfred Zaha?
They should have. I think they should have, because it's not like Wilfred was struggling at Galatasaray anyway. He was playing well. And I mean, for someone who decided to switch nationalities from England to Ivory Coast, it's not an easy thing. It's a very big deal for someone who is like used to be a top player at Crystal Palace, switching to Ivory Coast. I mean, you should give him the chance to show what he can do at the African soil. I think they should have, because having someone like Pepe and others on the field, it's not at that quality level. It's not there at all.
Anyway, that's the issue of La Côte d'Ivoire. Anela, you want to share thoughts on Côte d'Ivoire?
Just briefly. I remember just a few days ago you mentioned something quite profound. You said the cracks will start to show. And it's rather unfortunate that for Ivory Coast is showing a little earlier than it should, because you look at their opening game, cruising to a 2-0 victory. You think that this is some momentum that they are going to maintain. Not a lot of people are focusing too much on their game or their inability to create up front and in the middle and progress from there. But then we look at the Nigerian game and you are like, oh, hold on, because Nigeria themselves have not been as great as they could be, because even with the likes of Victor Osimhen, people watch him for his club side and watch him for his national side and be like, these are sitters you should absolutely not be missing. But he missed, some of them in there. And I think it's the same thing for Ivory Coast. They are really struggling to create and be as fluid as possible. And it doesn't help that they are the host nation, because there's a lot of pressure on their backs to progress out to the group stages. The advantage for them is that now they have 3 points. I think that currently they are one of the better placed, or if not the best placed, third place team currently, because we look at some of those of us on, I don't even want to say the 1 point, but those of us on 1 point. And it's funny that out of a possible 6, you have 1. But I think for Cote d'Ivoire, maybe they can save the day real quick, because if they get further into the competition, they'll need to do a lot more than they're doing now.
Well, that's it on La Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire, the host nation, and after the first game beating Guinea-Bissau by 2-0, things are not looking too good. They lost to Nigeria, and now they have to take on Equatorial Guinea to stand a chance of qualifying to the next stage of the competition. Incredible, because I don't think any of us thought that Côte d'Ivoire would be struggling at this stage of the competition. But there's also Algeria, and yesterday, Algeria's squad is star-studded. Rami Ben Sabeni, Belaili, Baghdad Bonija, Islam Slimani, Riyad Mahrez, Aid Nouri, several players who have become household names on the African continent, but it's still not working out for them. And they'll be looking to finish off and get into the next stage of the competition. The thing about teams like this is that when these teams get into the knockout stages, then they become stronger, and then they start posing problems to other teams who are there as well. Before we get onto the Black Stars, Aniela, I know this is your dreaded part of the show, but it's going to come. Let's do the quiz, the trivia. Yeah, let's do the trivia real quick before we go. We have 10 questions, and so I'm going to ask one question each to each one of you, or perhaps I could just ask the question and then any of you answers.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I think that's fair, right? That's fair. So if you are joining us, this is still Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Yao Fosula. I'll be sitting in for Thierry Nyan. And hello to Ray Krampofu, who is in Abidjan, watching us on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook as well, thank you to you. And we'll be opening the phone lines for you to have your time to speak about the Black Stars when we get into the conversation proper. This is still Sports Ultras. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We are back. This is still Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. We are doing the AFCON Round 1 trivia. Aniela, listen. AFCON Round 1 trivia. That's what we're going to do now. And my panelists are going to be answering questions about the Africa Cup of Nations and what they've watched so far. They are the analysts. They know. They have been watching every game. And so they should know who have done what in the first round of the Africa Cup of Nations. Guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First question: who scored the fastest goal who has scored the fastest goal of this tournament so far?
Seko Fofana.
No.
Can't be him.
Any clue?
Who? Any clue?
Yes.
North African country.
Mohamed Mustafa.
Kelvin has a point. Mohamed Mustafa. Number 2. This one there is the fastest person to get it. Number 2. Who has scored the only hat-trick at this tournament?
Emilio Insui.
I'll give it to Bill.
He's 34 years old.
Kelvin 1, Bill 1. Kelvin 1, Bill 1.
You guys are just...
Now, question number 3. How many goals does reigning CAF Player of the Year Victor Osimhen have at this competition?
0.
1.
Yes. Aniela.
The first game he
Yes.
scored.
So now Aniela has a point, Bill has a point, Kelvin has a point.
Yeah.
Number four. Mohamed Kudus scored 2 goals against Egypt, but how many goals does he have in a Black Stars shirt?
11.
11. Bill has 2 points. 11.
I blame Andam for this one.
Number five. Which club does Egyptian forward Omar Mamouche play for?
Al-Ali.
Omar Mamouche.
Al-Ali.
No.
Zamalek.
No. The club is in Germany. Omar Mamouche.
Eintracht Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Aniela 1, Bill 2, Kelvin 2. Question number 6. Namibia secured the first ever victory against Tunisia in the opening game. Can you name the player who scored the winner for Namibia? Dion Hoto.
I think
Kelvin
that Kelvin
3.
needs to be eliminated.
Kelvin 3,
On form.
Bill 2, Aniela 1.
Can you not ask who gives away some of the Black Stars chances?
Now, number 7. Which club does Cape Verdean player Bebe play for?
Oh, I recently.
Vallecano.
Vallecano.
I don't know.
Rayo Vallecano.
Why won't you say which English Premier League club did you play?
Bill 3, Kelvin 3, Aniela 1. Number 8. Aniela, this is yours. Let me give this directly to you. Aniela,
Like that.
I'm giving
Is it
this.
a Black Stars question?
I'm giving this directly
Is
to
it a
you.
Black Stars question?
Kelvin and Bill are not part of this. They have 3. I'm banning them from this question. Who scored the first goal at AFCON 2023?
Oh.
Who scored the first goal at
This
AFCON
one, yeah, we'll leave
2023?
it to Aniela.
Oh, Osimhen. It's not Osimhen. No, wait. Wasn't it the Ivory Coast game?
Yes. Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
Was it Fofana?
Fofana.
Ah, Fofana.
Seko
Sorry,
Fofana.
Fofana.
Seko Fofana. 2. Aniela 2. Bill 3.
We cheated.
Kelvin 3. So last 2 questions. This is the tiebreaker for you guys. And then last 2 questions. Can you name the highest scoring game at the AFCON 2023 so far? The highest scoring game.
Equatorial Guinea.
Equatorial Guinea.
Guinea-Bissau.
Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau. Aniela 3.
Yes, talk on quicker. So we take it.
Aniela 3. Bill 3. Kelvin 3. Last question. This is the tiebreaker. Whoever answers this wins today's trivia. Who scored the first direct free kick at this tournament? Direct free kick. Who scored the first direct free kick at this tournament?
Baby.
Baby.
Aniela is the winner. Nice. Aniela has won. What a comeback! What's the comeback? This is a Trossard
Can I
comeback.
please give my vote of thanks?
Give
Thank
your
you.
vote of
No,
thanks.
because thank you to Jordan because he has not scored in everything. And that's what I remember. I was baby that did it.
Anyway, so guys, Aniela has won today's trivia. She won 4 out of 10 questions. Bill got 3, and then Kelvin also got 3. So Aniela, congratulations to you. How do you feel?
I feel like I'll go to Colombia and support the Black Stars.
anyway, so let's just put the trivia aside now to some serious business. That's the Black Stars. I know our listeners are yearning to listen to the Black Stars. But before we go to the Black Stars, let's hear from my colleague Oreku Ampofo. Oreku has been covering the Black Stars extensively, and he's been talking to some of the Black Stars players. We've seen him a lot in the mix zone talking about talking to the Black Stars about their performances and all of that. But he's put together this. We need to speak to him on the phone at the moment and then just check out what the mood in camp is like. So Oreku, how is the mood in camp so far? In Ivory Coast, where the Black Stars are.
I'm currently at the Stade Municipal where the Black Stars are having their final training session before the game against Mozambique on Monday. We got here a bit earlier before the session started, and I think it's just been pure relaxation. I was looking out for players like Bukari, Inaki Williams, just to check out how they react after their mistakes in the game against Egypt. But it seems to be all smiles. It seems to be the players look to have moved on from it. Chris Hughton this year at the press conference that he spoken to them the next day. Of course, emotions were really high that night, and the players still looked affected. So he waited to speak with them the next day. He didn't review what went on in the conversations, but the assumption is that everything is fine now. The players look focused, are very energetic in training, and the belief is that they do have one more chance against Mozambique on Monday to try and qualify.
Right. Oreku, now you've spoken a lot about the mood in camp and all of that, but is there any belief in the fans that 2021 will not repeat itself at this AFCON?
Yes, there is belief. There is belief, especially because the performance against Egypt was encouraging. And sometimes it's not just about the results, it's about how the team played. It looked like a team that had learned from majority of their mistakes against Cape Verde. They looked like a team that had improved. And so it's a bit understandable to have the hope that things would get better against Mozambique. Hopefully there's an improvement on Cape Verde, improvement on Egypt, and then we do see that against Mozambique on Monday.
3FM.
Right, now, Oreku, I mean, one of the major problems of the Black Stars has been cohesion. And one player who has shown that he's important to the Black Stars, this current Black Stars setup, is Majid Ashimeru. He picked up what looked like a knock in that game against Egypt. How fit is he, and is he likely to feature in the game against Mozambique?
Also, a huge difference is that in 2021, Mohamed Kudus was not fit for the final game. This time around, he's fit, and that's a huge difference for the Ghanaian team whenever he's fit. He showed his quality against Egypt, and there is also that belief that if he is in the game against Mozambique, which he would be, he could be the difference on the day. Well, Ashimeru picked up a knock in the game against Egypt and was subbed off, was limping after the game. But I'm looking at him right now and he looks very fine. He didn't take part of the recovery session on Friday after the game, but he had a light training session on Saturday with the medical team. Asked Chris Hughton about the state of the midfielder. He said he looked good and the signs were kind of good that he could feature tomorrow and play. And so I'm seeing him train right now from the beginning, and it looks as if there is that positive outlook that he would probably be involved in the game tomorrow. He started training from the beginning and he looks strong, moving with the ball, and so I'm assuming that he would be in the team tomorrow to play against Mozambique.
Oreku, now a final question to you. I mean, I know that you've spoken about Kudus and Ashimeru and all of that, but in the game against Egypt, there were individual errors that cost us that vital win over the Egyptians. But in your assessment of the team and what you've seen in training, what areas do you think Chris Hughton should work on in the game against Mozambique?
I think the biggest area of concern is the defense. 4 goals conceded in 2 games is not a good sign of a team that can go deep in the tournament, because usually you rely on a strong defense and you build from there. So the defense is usually your foundation in tournaments. But that hasn't been the case for Ghana, although there's been some improvement. Dennis Odoi in the press conference today stated that he feels that the team were more compact against Egypt. In the first match against Cape Verde, they allowed the Islanders to play through the lines a bit too much, and Ghana were not aggressive enough. He says that a number of those issues were addressed this time against Egypt, and he's hoping that against Mozambique it will be similar. Most of the Ghana's goals have been individual errors, and so if they're able to sort that out and probably remain as compact as they were against Egypt, then you do have the hope that they would improve in that regard.
Right, Ure Kwampofu, thank you so much for joining us. And that's my colleague Ure Kwampofu in Abidjan, monitoring things there, particularly in the Black Stars camp for you. Let's get into the conversation now. Aniela, let me have your thoughts on what you think the general AFCON performance for the Black Stars has been so far. It's been 2 games. What have you noticed about the Black Stars that you feel they should improve on going into the Mozambique game?
Yeah, you watch some of our other African counterparts play, and you can clearly see that they learn from their mistakes from the first game and try to correct that in the second game. It's quite unfortunate that we haven't seen the same type of energy translate into the Black Star side, because you watch our very first game, the opening campaign against Cape Verde, and you would think that at least some of the mistakes would definitely not repeat itself. For that one, most of us had, shored it up to the timing of the substitution when the likes of Painstill and Co were gaining momentum.
Anela, just before you go on, so on your screen now you can see on the screen, actually, if you're listening to us or you're watching us from Facebook, there's some statistic on your screen. Ghana in the last 10 AFCON games, 1 win, 3 draws, 6 losses, 7 goals scored, 10 goals conceded. 1 win since 2019. That win came against Guinea-Bissau. Aniela.
Yeah. I was just saying that you watch that game against Cape Verde, and you just want to shore that up to the timing of the substitutions, because a lot of people, including myself inclusive, felt that some of the likes of Painstill were substituted a little too early, because I felt like they still had a lot more minutes in them to progress to the game and perhaps get us a goal in. We come to the goalkeeping department. Ofori seemed to have, a bit of jitters, and he seemed really nervous in the post, and that's how Cam Montero was able to get past him. You don't know if he was catching the ball, if he was throwing it out, if it slipped, whatever it is. That happened, and then we were punished for it. Now, getting into the Egyptian game, you have somebody like Kudus who is not even worried about individual brilliance, but that's just it. When you are a superstar, the individual brilliance finds its way to you, and you just, sail through with that. I thought that, there was this partnership that was going on between Jordan, Samet, and then ultimately Kudus for that goal, and that was absolutely perfect. We saw glimmers of a Black Stars that could potentially win the game. And then what happened after that? We just completely dropped the ball. I don't want to blame Houghton so much concerning that back-to-back substitution mishap of, Iñaki conceding and then Bukari coming on to even concede an even worse one. But again, what do you do after that? The deed has already been done. There's not a lot of minutes left to play. In the presser, he said that he thought, I think, something to the effect of seeing how Bukari's reaction was and feeling the need to pull him out to the game. But I didn't see that. I felt like Bukari was still trying to, make up for his mistakes and just help out with what he knew that he had done, unfortunately. But he was pulled out, introduced for a Painstill. Painstill usually, if you watch him closely, he needs a little bit of time to work, because it is as the game progresses that he gains a bit of momentum. Because if you're going to introduce him to the game and you're going to do that in the second half, then at least do that 50th, 60th minute, a time that he has enough time to play. But looking at the time, that it was just a little calamitous. The people I was watching the game with, as soon as the game started, we're like, but where's that Rasta hair guy? Where's Painstill? Where's Painstill? Where's Painstill? And nobody knew where Painstill was in that game. And it's rather unfortunate. I think that there are some mistakes that we keep making at the back. Fine, there are people in there who can help us advance. A party is not there in the middle. We're lacking that in innovation and creativity in the middle, but we still have the goals coming in there. Even the likes of Jiku have even gotten on the score sheet before some of our men that we expect that they would. But yeah, I think that if we are going to progress out to the group stages, we need to watch our defense very, 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 very closely. If you score 2 goals only to concede another 2, that 1 point is very unlikely to make you progress. Look at how some of the other teams are doing. It's only 4 out of the 3rd place teams that are going to make it out, and there are 6 of them. Something has got to give, and I just hope that going into the Mozambican game, Houghton, just learns. I don't want to talk a little bit about Ransford, but I feel like the timing that he was introduced into the Black Stars game, it was just nerves all over the place, and we suffered for it. We conceded. Then the goal, I think it was Ashimeru's goal or so, was this Salah. And that goal, how brilliant a goal it would have been if the goalkeeper's view was not obstructed. He did not introduce him into the second game, which again is also a little harsh. But a lot of people are like, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? But now nobody's going to remember him as somebody who came to do anything for the Black Stars aside concede. And just if you want to introduce him into the game, at least seep him into the game just a little bit. In the Mozambican game, I'm just praying that Hilton just gives us a lineup we can work with, and some of the defenders, and Ofori, I don't want to be too hard on him because I think that he has done his best. There have been some very clinical saves in there, even though in the beginning he did seem a little nervous. But kudos, Charlie. Kudos is giving us hope, and I feel like he can give us hope again in the last game.
Belino, tell me something. Black Stars.
Jordan Ayew. I can't fathom why he is so hell-bent on drawing fouls instead of creating chances. Because we need goals. If you want to win, you need to score goals.
Yeah, I'm actually watching it now. Bill, just before you go on, Zambia have scored from a really good header. It looks like it's Patson Daka who has scored. And like you were saying, you need your superstars to step up to the plate. And Patson Daka is that guy for Zambia, and he's been able to step up. They have a red card, and 10 men Zambia have come back against Tanzania, which is incredible.
He headed the ball. Was it from a cross?
But I think by now
Was it from a cross?
Yeah, it was from a cross.
Jordan Ayew.
Oh, Bill. At least he has stamina.
Yo, please.
He can play 90 minutes. How many
It's
can
not
play 90 minutes?
it's not stamina we will chop. It is goals we will chop. He doesn't want to cross. That is one thing that the coaches have to. I personally feel like Jordan is best suited for when we have to preserve leads more than when we want a goal or when we are starting a game. I feel like this is the time we have to bench him for someone like Pinto or Nyama to start a game, and then Nyama can take people on and cross. Pinto can cross. Jordan Ayew won't cross. So why are we wasting our time starting in every game when we know that he's going to drag the team back when we attack? I saw a number of situations where he could have just passed the ball or just given a through pass or just tried to cross for any of his teammates to get onto the end of the ball to score. But he didn't execute. And I don't want to see that against Mozambique, knowing that Ghana needs a win to at least really, really stand a chance to qualify to the round of 16. Of course, a draw, hypothetically, can still give Ghana a chance, but it won't be an ideal situation as compared to a win. And so, if you're going to have players that are going to drag us back, then I'm sorry, it's not going to help us. So, someone like him, drop him.
Okay.
Drop him totally. And our defending.
Yeah.
It's been so bad. It's been bad, from communication from Richard Ofori to how Salisu handles things to how Egypt constantly attacked Denis Odoi's flank. It was a huge problem. Huge. I wonder if Mozambique is going to try the same thing, because they might be successful there, unless we get someone who is going to show Denis Odoi, or Denis Odoi himself steps up. If not, it's going to be really problematic. And Mozambique, their coach came out saying that, hey, we've seen that Ghana relies heavily on individual talents to get goals. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Of course, you need the individuals to, produce. But if you don't have a solid team backing that individual or that number of individuals, then where are we going? Where exactly are we? We are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. And this is all giving Comoros vibes from 2021 now.
Exactly.
It's giving Comoros vibes.
That's why we should be worried.
We should be.
Yeah.
We should be, because Mozambique drew Egypt.
Yeah.
The first game, they drew with them.
Yeah.
And it's not like they are so bad that they can easily be beaten. It's not going to be like that. In this competition, every team can beat every team. Except you are Senegal or Morocco. That you'll be given a bigger chance. But if it's not that case, then you can't play with some things. Defending, you can't play with it. You can't be overly reliant on one player. If I'm guessing that Mozambique will try and show Mohamed Kudus with like 3 players at least to try and take him off the game, then who steps up? What happens then? How are you going to recover from it if Kudus has a bad day? You need to get your team compact. You need to get your team clicking. And you need to offer a lot more crosses in the box, because we've seen in the AFCON so far that a number of players are getting their goals from headers. Headers.
And we have a big man up front.
You have it, yes.
Yeah.
We have Semenya who can head the ball.
Yeah.
He can actually head the ball. So give him crosses. And let's not waste time. Jordan, again to you. Cross or sit at the bench and give us peace. Finish.
Anyway, Kelvin, let me hear your thoughts on the Black Stars.
Yeah, so, it's one problem to another, and it starts from goalkeeping. Our goalkeeping has been, very terrible in the last couple of years. We're expecting it to get better. You look at all the Africa Cup of Nations teams or the winners, and you look at their teams, and you see top-notch goalkeeping. But can you say same for us? We've become a laughing stock that someone who doesn't even get to warm the bench of his club side in South Africa is our number one for the senior national team. And you can see his basic errors. He's not as quick, as smart, as sharp as you would expect him to be, and not comfortable on the ball too as you'd expect him to be. That aside, in our central defense, I still think that the problem of getting the best pair isn't it. Yes, there are times you see a team plays two left-footed players in the defense, or because they have the ability to do that. But mostly you would want a right-footed player and left. So I don't know if people have realized there have been so many times where Djiku and Salisu have been in the same area instead of spreading wide, one at top and then one as the last man. It's been very problematic. Remember that goal Cape Verde scored, the winning goal?
Yeah.
It was because Salisu failed to stay behind for Djiku and then the other central midfielder, Baba Idrisu, to deal with that ball. He moved towards that point and then there was a mistake because they think that is not our adapt role. So we must try to do what? Cover. And that is a communication problem. And I still think that for someone like Salisu who was coming back from an injury, he shouldn't have been given the priority over Daniel Amate. But you ask yourself, has he also proven himself in the last couple of games that he's a player you can trust? No. That was the reason why I asked Chris Hughton when he named the squad, are you sure these defenders are the best available for you that can play for the Black Stars? Because I know there is Abdul Momen in Spain playing very fine for Rayo Vallecano. Why are we not bringing him? But he defended it and said all manner of things. Now we are in shambles. At our right back, if we think that Andre Ayew at his age is not fit enough to start, how much more a 35-year-old? And you can see his energy levels drop. His concentration becomes, because once you get tired, it gets to the mind. You can blame Iñaki for that mistake whatsoever, but Dennis Odoi played a part in it. Because definitely he should have realized that ball was, so you watch your back to see if there is no on-rushing player and then you fill into the gap. Salisu was a culprit there because he's also not sharp. He has been out of action. So we have that problem. In midfield, I don't know, Salis, this word should go to him. If he thinks we haven't seen his sort before, he should leave the Black Stars. We saw Antonian and we saw Ricardo, we saw Jaman Bedu, we saw Free Aqua, we saw Mubarak Wakasu.
Yes.
Even those times when Mike Lessian said he wasn't fit, we saw William Thierry, a local player, and how he dedicated, his life and then his strength for the senior national team when Mike Lessian wasn't available to play for the Black Stars during the World Cup qualifiers. So he shouldn't come and bluff us as if he's playing for prime Real Madrid. No. We've seen better players who have played in his position. He's playing for long. Long Kotoko Krao pedigree saying if he doesn't know. I rate someone who plays Kotoko and how to folk. Or more, I just tell him better football than he's doing. So he should stop flexing us and play better. He cannot even think for the team. We were talking about the Ivorian team and someone to create from deeper lines. Nobody in our team is able to do that apart from Ashmeru Majid. And it gets to a point, he gets limited all because he also hasn't been too fit enough. And it pushes me to the next problem in the team. Why do our coaches realize that Ashmeru is facilitating better play, advancing the progression of the ball? But when he's supposed to go off, they bring on Baba Idrisu or Elisha Owusu, when they actually selected two players in just one profile, Ashmeru and then Richmond Lamptey. He doesn't even dress to stay on the bench for even to use him as an option. And yesterday I read stuff and people were trying to explain that
So
when the local players get to the national team, they are not able to do simple things. So how then did you invite them to be part of the team? When you watch them, you realize the basic skills, what you wanted, the element you wanted from the players, the profile and the things they were capable of, and you don't want to use them. Does it even make sense?
So on the Richmond Lamptey bit, a colleague journalist, I asked him about it, and then he told me that he had a discussion with one of the technical members that Richmond Lamptey is in the team. He's a progressor, and he's not even been named in any of the squads to play for the 2 games. Why? Then the coaches are saying, we know he's doing well in the Ghana Premier League, but they don't feel like he's ready enough to compete at the AFCON. In my mind, I'm like, why would you call him? Why? Then why would you waste your time?
Exactly. That analogy doesn't make sense because people didn't even play.
It doesn't make sense one bit.
Able to start. So why is he starting?
Why it doesn't make sense one bit? Why? So that was why we were clamoring for you to drop someone like Elisha Usu or Baba Idusu and bring on Forsen Amankwa because he plays outside. So at least if you think that the Ghana Premier League is not at a level where you think that these players should play, then
we know what to do because
exactly.
even not fit enough to start. Are you trying to say that 60th minute, 70th minute, even for about 30 minutes?
I am telling you, we were complaining about these local players, but when I watched Namibia against Ghana in Kumasi, the last preparatory game, Jonathan Sowa came off the bench and he gave better than all the forwards did for the national team. They are the same. It's the same Ghana Premier League. That Jonathan Sowa, he's just risen from beach soccer, Division 2, and to Ghana Premier League.
Yeah.
That is the progression of Jonathan Sowa in just 2 years. How much more do you tell me that a player who has basics from Wafa, coached by Samade, he went to Inter Allies and now plays for Asante Kotoko, doesn't have the temperament to play at this level? We are seeing UD Songo players play against Mohamed Salah and he can't even dribble them. How do you tell us? You know, football, I don't understand. Utilization of space, skill, passing, and then positioning. If you tell me what you see from Lamptey or what you see from Baba Ibrisu, Lamptey cannot give it, then all those 3 people, they don't deserve to be on our technical benches with all the tablets and the laptops that they've been using. It doesn't actually make sense. And in attack, for how long, Chris Hughton, would you allow Jordan Ayew to waste our time on the pitch for over 70 minutes that he plays? After 70 minutes, if he cannot play, change him. We saw Jamel Belmadi take off Riyad Mahrez.
With no hesitation.
Yes, we saw Yves Bissouma play from the bench. Alou Dieng was dropped yesterday. We saw Ali Malou, one of the best, laterals. He was dropped yesterday by Tunisia.
It's at stake, y'all. Like it's just we are just playing. It's not friendly.
Kenisi was dropped yesterday in their game. How can't we do same? Why can't we do same? Max Allen Gradel has been dropped. Charlie, it's sad, and I think those are the problems. And if you had Lamptey, Iñaki Williams makes very good runs. But as soon as Salas gets the ball, because that skill set, he doesn't possess that skill set. He just turns and he gets the ball back for a square pass into the midfield, and then our progression ceases. If it wasn't for the intelligence of Mohamed Kudus and his brilliance, we would have created only one chance, and that was a half chance that Dennis Odoi provided for him to score that second goal.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, in the game against Egypt, did we create any goal scoring opportunities?
We didn't
Zero.
We didn't create.
So what is the coach doing? What are the coaches doing? What are the players doing? They come here to flaunt and they act like they are playing for prime. Sami Kufo was playing for Bayern Munich, AS Roma. He was benched for Shela Iliasu.
Facts.
Then from the local league to play.
Facts.
Adukoy Papo was playing in Israel. He was dropped for Habib Mohamed to play.
Facts.
We saw Anthony Annan pushing players like Lai Kenson off the team. Even Andre Ayew in 2008 benched Kojo Asamoah when he was playing for Al Avignon. When he didn't have any proper team to play, better team than what we had Kojo Asamoah at those times.
Yeah.
And it clearly tells us the confidence and the strength of the coaches that we had. But now, I don't know what we are doing.
Anyway,
we've sunk so deep that it gets devastatingly problematic to see these coaches, for especially Chris Hughton at that top level, to sink low. And the substitutions are just
so are we winning tomorrow?
No. Me, from what I saw last,
Kelvin.
Aniela, I am being truthful. If we win, I'll celebrate. But sincerely, what I have seen from these boys, the edge to win, the dedication, the passion, the intelligence, the simple things being done our players cannot even do it. How much do you expect us to face these Mozambicans unless Mohamed Kudus comes to the party again, and then this time around our defensemen and our players will keep their concentration levels high and do the simple things.
Bill, you want to say something?
Yeah, for the fans who are so hell bent on bringing out their calculators, I can give them a bit of calculation here.
Okay.
Yes. So the first part is we must not lose. If we lose, we are out totally.
Okay.
That is one. The second is if we draw. Now, some things have to happen. If we draw, Egypt has to lose for us to have a chance. And even if they lose, they have to lose by a 2-goal margin.
Okay.
For us to be second in the group, and we'll be like
so they have to lose by 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 or 2-0.
Okay.
If we draw.
Likely is that?
If we draw.
It's highly unlikely.
At this point,
Highly
if we draw and we get 2 points, Egypt has to lose by a 2-goal margin for us to be second.
Mm.
And if we win, we get 4 points, all right. But if Egypt wins, we are third.
Okay.
If Egypt draws, we are second.
Okay.
So
No, if they win, it depends on the goals that we score. Because head to head, the same level.
No. If we win and Egypt wins, that's it. Egypt is second.
How?
Egypt has 2 points. We have 1 point.
Okay, So they go on 5 points.
Yeah. So
And Quebec don't care.
So we have to
Right now,
pray
Quebec
that.
don't care.
Then qualify.
Any result, they are still top of the group.
Yeah.
So they won't put in their best.
So the prayer is, whatever happens, Egypt must not win.
Okay.
Must not win. The best possible outcome is Egypt must lose, and must lose by a 2-goal margin before we can even consider a draw. I wouldn't want that anyway. So
Okay. Okay, Bellino, you've given us the calculations. You can join us here on Sports Ultra 055-9242-717 055-6910-154. Anila, you are not exactly happy with what you are hearing from Bill and then from Kelvin. Tell me why.
Because yes, I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful.
It is the hope that will kill you like Arsenal.
it will kill you.
Yeah, I'm not happy because I just want to see the Black Stars succeed. You know, I feel like regardless of whatever happens, we can deny it all we will. People say they don't want to watch the match, but you see them in their offices checking sofa scores, sneaking in. You hear them with the celebrations, and I think that everybody deep down in their hearts as Ghanaians would just want the Black Stars to excel. It looks like we are our own enemies in this case, and we've had extensively Kelvin's analysis of some of the players who should be given an opportunity. I think that at this point, we have nothing more to lose. We are literally on the verge of being ousted from the competition if we don't do our best. And I think that now is when Houghton should go all guns blazing with his lineup. Let's see. Let's do our worst. What was the worst that can happen at this stage? We should just give it our all and then try and make it out of the group. I think we can make it out of the group.
Last week by this time we were preparing to walk to the slaughter, to be beaten by Cape Verde. And what a game that was. But like I mentioned earlier, you can join us 055-9242-717. These are the studio lines 055-9242-717 and 055-6910-154. Call us. Let's talk to the Black Stars and what they can do tomorrow against Mozambique at the Africa Cup of Nations. The Black Stars are on 1 point, Egypt on 2 points. The Black Stars have scored 3 goals, they've conceded 4, and Mozambique have also scored 2 goals, they've conceded 5. The 2 goals came in that game against Egypt in their first ever game. We have a call on the line. Hello? Oh, I'm sorry I lost you there. 055-9242-717 055-9242-717 and then 055-6910-154. Call us, let's have a conversation on the Black Stars. I was taking you through the statistics there. Cape Verde have also scored 5 goals, they've conceded 1. They're on 6 points at the top. There's a call on the line. Hello?
Hello.
Good evening. What your name and where you're calling us from?
Good evening. I'm Fortune and I'm calling from Asalaja.
Asalaja. Fortune, let's hear you.
Yeah. The Ghana wants the I'm not sure Ghana will win.
Really? Why?
Because the Mozambique coach is serious about Ghana tactics there. I'm sure you pin us down for at least first half like 5-0.
Oh, but I mean, maybe he's just talking because he has to talk so that he's.
Charlie, you talk plus fact too.
Okay. So you are not hopeful. So Ghana. So you say Ghana go lose.
Ghana go lose. Ghana go come lose tomorrow.
Okay.
Even if on a ball go drop for.
Sharp. We go see how it will go. Fortune, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for also calling us right here on the Sports Ultras on 3FM 92.7. You can also join the conversation 055-9242-717. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Confidence. I'm calling from New Legon.
Confidence from New Legon. I mean, your name should reflect on what the boys will do tomorrow.
Tomorrow there is. If Ghana wants to win, the coach has to drop Odo and Jordan.
The coach has to drop Odo and Jordan. Okay, and play who?
Wait. This guy play with Nyama.
Nyama, okay. Nyama and who?
Nyama and Ali Duseidu.
Ali Duseidu. Okay. Confidence. You want Nyama and Ali Duseidu to replace Dennis Odo and Jordan?
Yeah, but which time are you playing?
Sorry?
Which time?
8 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
By that time you have finished work and then you are home.
Yeah.
So Confidence, thank you so much. Confidence from New Legon, also calling us to share his thoughts on the Black Stars conversation that we are having here on the Sports Ultras on 3FM 92.7. You can join us also and share your thoughts on the Black Stars. They take on Mozambique tomorrow in a cracking final group game. Hello.
Hello.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Gabriel. I'm calling from the Afram Plains.
Angel Gabriel from Afram Plains. Let's hear you, Gabriel.
I think in the final game, Chris Hughton should bring the changes, especially up front.
Okay.
I believe he's misprofiled a lot of our on players, playing Key in the wings, playing Jordan on the wings. I think it's not helping us. We need players who are who can stretch the game and create opportunity for our strikers and even cross the ball.
Yeah.
So in the next game, I expect Nyama and Pentel and probably Semenyo up front.
Okay.
To give us some pace and some energy up front. Then I think the midfield is okay. She just did this order and put Ali Duseidu there because order is leaking. And I think the game against Egypt, the coach didn't help him by protecting him. He was too exposed. There was so much upload at his side, and there was no protection for him from Chris Hughton. I think that was very, very bad.
Okay. Gabriel, extensive analysis there. Thank you so much. Hopefully we win tomorrow and then the people of Afram Plains get to celebrate something. Thank you so much for calling us. Gabriel called from Afram Plains, and this is still Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7. You can join the conversation 055-9242-717, 055-6910-154. Hello. Good evening. Where are you calling us from? Your name.
Good evening.
Your name as well.
Felix, and I'm calling from Domain.
Felix from Domain. Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. So what I will also add to the conversation is that over the last two matches, I think the Black Stars have proven themselves well that they have the opportunity and they have the capacity to do well. Just that we don't get to see it reflect in the final results. I think that tomorrow, having the mindset that things are going to be different, it's a must win. They will go out and then they will win and make us happy. Even if we don't qualify as the top two in our group, I'm confident that we'll have the opportunity to go as one of the best three if we are able to win. But at the end of the day, we have no excuse but to win. In terms of the lineup, I think that the team have made very positive feedback as to what the coach has to do. I think that it makes sense that we make the changes so that we can have the best, and then at least the whole country can be happy, and then the result will be good for all of us. I'm really confident that tomorrow is going to be a good time for Ghana. Yeah.
Felix from Domain, thank you so much, Felix, for sharing your thoughts. Felix is incredibly confident ahead of tomorrow's game, Ghana-Mozambique. Call us, let me take a few more calls, about 3 more calls before we can close out the phone line. 055-9242-717, 055-6910-154. Call us, share your thoughts on the Black Stars. Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm Ike, calling from Ashimon in Amasaman.
Ike, can you please get closer to your phone a bit for me?
Okay, I'm Ike, calling from Amasaman.
Amasaman, thank you so much, Ike. Let's go.
But do you know something?
Mm-hmm.
Our keeper is not good.
Oh.
Our keeper, so to be honest, our keeper is not good. Secondary, Jordan to the post out to Jordan. Send the Ogbe to drop.
Okay.
You see, and the problem is that if it's the money we took to the place up to now, all of us, we don't know the money they sent to the place. You see, so the Ghanaians, we are not understand the this they needed. And even the GAK too. You see, this problem is not today. Since 2 years ago, or more than 2 years ago, two years ago, when we went the Comoros scorers, they say to back to scholars. And so we have big problem. Big problem.
Ike.
So for this one, to be honest, we will come back tomorrow.
We'll come back home tomorrow.
I'm telling you.
Oh, Ike, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We'll come back tomorrow.
Oh, Isaac, son of Abraham, don't do that.
I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. Do that. Call me tomorrow. Let's talk about the Black Stars.
I will call you, brother.
All right, Ike. That's Ike there. Ike, thank you for Mama Saman. Hello.
3FM.
Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
This is Ellie from Amasama.
Ellie, can you please speak up for me?
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Ghana will make a difference tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that. I have this feeling in me that them go make a difference.
Yeah.
But I want to tell the players that you see when they get the ball in the 18 yard and they see that they cannot
play it.
They should just play it. What is that controlling tactics? No, the thing is bomb here. So if they get the ball in the 18 yard, I just want them to just play it to corner or over.
Okay.
Like if they did that, like we will score Egypt 2-0.
Okay.
I mean, I believe tomorrow, dear Charlie. Inshallah.
You give him
we'll qualify.
You give him. Your Amasaman brother just called me, say we go lose. What you get tell him?
Oh, ABO is opinion about Charlie. Forgive him, we go win.
Nice one. Thank you, brother. Let's get on the phone lines again. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Where are you calling us from and your name?
I'm calling from Gomwa East.
Gomwa East. Millennium City. All right, Millennium City. And what's your name, please?
Musa.
Musa, let's hear you.
Okay, I follow the game, but only we get keeping problems.
The goalkeeper,
The keepers, they should train the local keeper 2 years or 3 years.
Okay.
Then they send them and leave the foreign one. You see?
Yeah.
Since it was 1992 African Cup, look at how he was doing.
Yeah.
The penalties.
Yeah.
So we get problem with this thing, and this defender too. All the defenders they learn from Tony Bafu.
Yeah.
They lie down, then they clear ball, then they miss it. The same thing Osei Kufuor. Then you come Amate and you see. So it's very difficult our defending.
Okay, Musa,
they should try and get the local keepers. Then they train them here.
Okay.
And we can get the cup. Because everything is the problem of the keeping
of
side.
the keepers. Okay. Musa, what can
and Ali Gerard.
Okay. Can Ghana win tomorrow?
They will win.
They'll win. Can you give me a prediction?
Oh, it will be 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Okay, Musa.
Okay.
I trust you, Musa.
I follow the game.
I trust you, Musa. I trust you. Thank you so much, Musa, for also calling us and sharing your thoughts there. Musa called us from Gomwa East, and thank you wherever you're listening to us from. It's incredible that we have so many listeners from diverse parts of Ghana. We've had a call from Amasama, Gomwa East. Someone has called actually from our front plains, which tells me that you're listening to Sports Ultras. You're doing that in your numbers. Thank you so much. But let me take a final caller, and then we can just close out the phone line. So a final caller: 055-9242-717, 055-6910-154. Just give me a call, and then talk about the Black Stars. Tomorrow, the Black Stars take on Mozambique. It's a big game. It shouldn't have been a big game, but now it has become a big game, and a lot will hinge on this result going into the next stage.
Black Stars, every game is a big game.
Whether we would qualify or not. But let me take you back onto the table. Group B, the standings has Cape Verde on top with 6 points. They've played 2 matches, scored 5 goals, conceded 1. That goal scored by Alexander Jiku against the Cape Verdeans. And then Egypt have scored 4 times. They've conceded 4 times. They have 2 points on the board. Ghana have scored 3 times. They've conceded 4 times. They have 1 point on the board. And then Mozambique also have they scored twice, and then they've conceded 5 times. They also have 1 point on there. Yeah.
Let's look at the other groups because you're going into the final group games.
Let's do that.
So for Group A, Equatorial Guinea have 4 points. They lie top. Nigeria 4 points. Cote d'Ivoire 3 points and Guinea-Bissau 0 points. It means this Cote d'Ivoire will play against Equatorial Guinea. That is a very tough game because they wouldn't want to lose. Nigeria play against Guinea-Bissau, which should be an easy game for them to win.
But Guinea-Bissau beat Nigeria just about a year ago.
You get it. Yeah. So it's going to be a cracker of a game. Now let's move away from Ghana's game because we've spoken about that. In Group C, where we have Senegal, they have 6 points, Guinea 4 points, Cameroon 1 point, and Gambia have 0 points. And you look at the table, and Cameroon are going to play against Gambia in the final game, and then Guinea play against Senegal. A draw for Guinea qualifies them, and Cameroon will need to win depending on the result from Guinea and then maybe other results because of the 3rd place finishes to see if they can also progress. Now in Group D, Angola lead the pack 4 points, Burkina Faso 4 points, Algeria have 2 points, and Mauritania have 0 points. So as it stands now, Algeria play against Mauritania, which should be a game because Mauritania are proven to be the whipping boys, and then Angola play against Burkina Faso.
But I just want to send Algerians this message.
Yeah.
The guy who coached Comoros to beat Ghana, is now the coach of Mauritania.
Yes.
He is a giant killer.
Yesterday, know the sort of trouble they gave Angola.
Yeah, I watched the game.
Before they managed to win by 3 goals to 2. So it's not going to be as easy.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
So in Group E, there is Mali 4 points, Namibia 3 points, Tunisia 1 point, and then South Africa have 0 points. They are playing against Namibia this evening. So after that game, we'll get to see what happens. So it means that the final game, South Africa are going to play against Tunisia, and then Namibia will play against Mali. So depending on what happens this evening, we'll get to see. And in Group F, the games have already been played. Morocco have 4 points. DR Congo have 2 points. Now, Zambia have 2 points, and then Tanzania have a point, which means the group is very well open. Any of the countries there can't qualify. So, Morocco would have their final game, that is against. DR Congo will play against. They just finished the game against Tanzania.
Yeah.
So DR Congo play against that is Morocco, and then Zambia play against.
DR Congo will play against Tanzania.
Yes, DR Congo play against Tanzania, and Zambia play against Morocco. So that is how it's going to be. So Morocco will be looking for a draw. Zambia need a win. Avram Grant needs a win, and the last time he needed a win to progress, he managed to get it back in 2015.
So he needs a win against Morocco. Of all sides.
Yes, and Morocco need a draw because today we all saw how Morocco also struggled.
We'll see
in their game.
We'll see how that goes. I think the final group games of the AFCON will be
very much exciting. Yes.
And we are here to provide you all the updates.
5 p.m. and 8 p.m. kickoff. So at least by that time you would have finished your work in the office.
Thank
so you can really watch and enjoy.
Thank you. Now, Kelvin, before we go, let's talk a bit about Arsenal. Yesterday, incredible win, 5-0 against Crystal Palace. I'm sure it lifts a lot of Arsenal fans and gets them back onto the wavelength they were on before.
Exactly, and it leaves Mikel Arteta with less pressure, and the players, it takes off a little bit of them. You could see that that break they had in Dubai had some rejuvenation. Bukayo Saka has washed up the dye he put on his head. That prevented him from giving the loads of performance that he used to give. It wasn't really a sweet victory, but very good execution and conversion of set pieces. When teams struggle and it becomes difficult for them to win games, these are the matches you'd expect them to win. So Gabriel on the edge of 2 of the goals. Henderson was credited with the second one as an own goal, but I think a devastating counter-attack from Arsenal gave them, the final 3 goals. Leandro Trossard and then Gabriel Martinelli. And I think it's good for someone like Martinelli too. He hasn't been scoring. He hasn't been productive as as it used to be a season ago, which has limited Arsenal from getting the very, good results from games. They create lots, but they cannot convert. Yesterday's win wasn't sweet as you'd see Arsenal playing beautiful football, but like I always say, even Pep Guardiola, in winning the Champions League, realize that he doesn't need to play sweet football.
Yeah.
All you need to do is to be efficient.
Sometimes you have to grind it.
Exactly. You grind the results, or at times you are just efficient. Just go hard. I remember when Leicester City were winning the league. Jamie Vardy was not curling the balls. No. He was just smashing it. Yeah. Bang, bang, agon.
And you remember they went on a 1-0 win.
Yes, winning streak. Yeah. Yes. So, you get those results. And I think it's good for us now. Hopefully, Arteta will just find solutions to the loop or the loose ends in his team, because still striking is a problem. And thankfully, Ivan Toney is back on the pitch. Yesterday he cheated once again in getting his goal from the free kick, but it was still a very good free kick dispatched by him. Arteta may probably have to look at getting a striker who he can reliably know that can get him about 15 goals in the season. Once you have Bukayo Saka and Martinelli getting some additional goals, you are good to go to get the result.
Yeah, but for someone like Martinelli, he struggled this season.
Yeah.
But to get 2 goals yesterday must get his confidence up.
Yes, and especially putting him on the bench in the last 4 Arsenal games sends him a message that he's not all there yet, and then he should, work for his place, and I think this is good for him, good for his confidence, and especially getting closer to games against Liverpool and getting back to the UEFA Champions League to play against FC Porto in the 2-legged tie of the round 16. I think it's good for him, and hopefully Arteta has some headache, because Leandro Trossard also scored. Martinelli came on and he scored twice, which means that yes, there is good and healthy competition in the team. But I still think Arsenal are still off their mark last season, and they need to do more to get the league title if they truly want to win it.
Most definitely there. You heard that from Kelvin Owusu-Ansah talking about the Arsenal game. Arsenal beating Palace by 5-0. And if you're watching us on Facebook, it is on your Facebook screen. You can just have a look at that. In the Africa Cup of Nations tonight at 8 p.m, South Africa will take on Namibia. It's a Southern African clash.
Yeah.
And it's a big one that's coming up. Now also, Kelvin, now West Ham.
Yeah.
You don't seem to know what's happening to West Ham now. And they've just drawn 2-2 against Sheffield United. And each team getting a red card. So the game finished 10-10.
Yeah.
And Ward-Prowse and Maxwell Kone got the goals for West Ham United.
Yeah.
But let me just read out the lineup for West Ham for you. Alphonse Areola, Emerson Kedzuma, Mavropanos, and Vladimir Soufal. Maxwell Kone, Thomas Soucek, James Ward-Prowse, Pablo Fornals, Danny Ings, Jared Bowen. So Kudus at the AFCON. And Paqueta is also injured.
And Benrahma also suspended.
And now the team looks in disarray.
I think it's a bit of a problem. And I asked myself, how does Danny Ings play behind Jared Bowen in attack? When you have Ings, he's your most direct forward. Play him there, and then you play beside him Jared Bowen and maybe Pablo Fornals to get you the goals, or even Maxwell Kone. But I don't see what David Moyes is trying to do. This takes him back to a typical English man who would want to play, that direct ball instead of allowing his midfielders and his most creative players to work for him. If Kudus Paqueta stayed longer than expected, I think West Ham are going to struggle, unless maybe Mikel Antonio gets fit, stays up front, and then the likes of Jared Bowen and maybe Pablo Fornals can bring up their A game. Many were not understanding why Fornals was on the bench, but yesterday he couldn't be as productive and efficient and effective for David Moyes, and I still think that he has lots to do. I think he's created the team around Paqueta, and probably Kudus has added his best to it. So it's taking some bit of energy of the team. Unlike last season where there was Declan Rice and then Antonio, you could definitely know that Jared Bowen adds his bit and then the team is set. But right now, they're still finding difficulties. And even in their defense, today is Obona, today is Kedzuma, the next day is another player. And I think it's really hurting them. Hope David Moyes gets, the solution quicker, because the league is not waiting for them. And the points are so close that just a slip of 2 or 3 games sends you into mid-table or low in the table, and he needs to quickly resolve this before it gets worse for him. So I don't know how he's going to come by, but I think we should give credit to Sheffield. They've been chucking some very good points in recent times, and not many expected them to even have a go at West Ham.
Right. Now, a final one before we go.
Yeah.
Liverpool, they beat Bournemouth by 4 goals to nil.
Yeah.
Darwin Núñez scoring twice, and then Diogo Jota as well. Liverpool title contenders?
Definitely. Now they've stretched the league waiting for Manchester City to play as well. Arsenal won yesterday. They were trying to tell them, yes, you can win, but we are not going to wait for anyone. And as much as we are missing the services of our talisman, Mohamed Salah, we still have equally good players. And this is what many were questioning, that if Salah leaves the team, how are they going to survive? But I think Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and then Diogo Jota brought up their A game today, and they managed to pick up, the pieces. There wasn't even Szoboszlai starting. It was Curtis Jones and then Harvey Elliott, which gives you an indication that going forward, if you have Szoboszlai getting back into the team, Endo, who is currently away at the Asian Cup, the team is really going to have a very solid, time. And then Cody Gakpo, Gravenberch, and the likes all came on to also give the team some bits of vibe and energy. So, in as much as you talk about other teams losing players, I think Liverpool have also lost a lot more too. Because if you lose someone like Salah and you lose Endo and you have some injured players not playing for you at this moment, it takes loads of you. Let's not forget Liverpool are without Robertson, and then Chimikas also injured, and they played with Joe Gomez, and Conor Bradley had to play as the right back. So I think it's a good result for them. And just like you said, if you want to win the league, there are some results you can only grind them. And Liverpool this time around got them from 2 of their next reliable players in terms of goals, Darwin Núñez and then Diogo Jota. And hopefully we see how this goes. I'm sure the only team who can battle Manchester City again this season is going to be Liverpool.
Right, now Kelvin, thank you so much. You heard from Kelvin Owusu-Ansah analysing some of the English Premier League games for you. You also heard from Aniela Alote and Bill Eshen, who were all on duty today as panelists for Sports Ultras. Special thanks to my producer, Prosper Kuzo, and also to Emmanuel Andam, who is on the production as well. Kweku Tweets, Michael Ofosu is also the man on social media. Thank you very much to you, listeners. But for you, we wouldn't be here. And so thank you for tuning in. To all our callers who did us the honors of calling on the show. Thank you so much. My name is Yao Fosulabi. But just before I go, though, there's a bit of news. Is that Mohamed Salah has traveled back to Liverpool because of the injury he sustained. Liverpool say they want to assess him, and that he could potentially rejoin Egypt at the AFCON if they progress. So let's just see how that goes. But that is the news there for you. Mohamed Salah has travelled back to Liverpool to get himself checked after that injury he picked up in that game against Ghana. My name is Yao Fosulabi. Thank you so much. If you say a prayer, say one for the Black Stars, because tomorrow will be an incredibly tough game. Cheers.